and this is Cross My Heart Ministry. Well, fall is finally just around the corner. We thought summer would never end, but we are all pulling out our pumpkins, dragging some mums home from the store. Everything is starting to look festive, I'm sure, if you like to decorate for fall like I do, and we are happy with those cooler temperatures. It does seem strange that another fall is rolling around again. I'm starting to sound like my mother when I talk about how quickly the time passes. But we do relish those cooler weather. We love seeing the leaves change color and all that color on the trees as we travel. Maybe you and your family enjoy taking a fall trip to see the fall leaves. Whatever you're doing to see the beauty of outdoors, we know that now that October is upon us, it will not be long until it's November and December, and the holidays are going to be right around the corner as well. And that means that a lot of things are going to be coming back inside. A lot of our social activities may be outside related, but as the temperatures really start to become cooler and colder, we'll come back inside. And so as we think about all those things and maybe hosting things or family coming to visit and the holidays upon us, that can bring a lot of happy and a lot of joy. But for many of us, it also brings a great deal of stress. The holidays can be a time that are inherently stressful just because we're traveling. Maybe it's a time that it's brings on some grief because you're remembering loved ones that have passed and how the holidays change. And so we need to be sensitive to recognize that what may be a happy time for us, there are brothers and sisters in Christ that's a profoundly sad time. And in fact, you might want to mark your calendar and check in with some of those family members that this may be, or friends whose family members, this may be their first holiday without some of those loved ones. But then beyond even the grief, it's just the overall busyness of the holidays. The schedules get more jam-packed. Anybody who cares anything about anybody feels like they've got to make that connection during the holidays. I don't know why we don't just all agree to sort of spread that out over the course of the year. But preparing our home to be presentable just in case somebody unexpectedly rings the doorbell to drop off a Christmas tin of cookies or a plate of some sort of fall pumpkin bread. It just sort of dampens our joy a little bit to think about being company ready all the time, because the holidays seem to be that time that people might just pop in, or we're called upon to host things. I came across this article a few years ago. It goes all the way back to 2010. So the article is over 10 years old, but the truth is still profound and applicable. The scientific journal Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin did this study. They found 60 women who volunteered to take researchers on a guided tour through their homes. I'm thinking, why would anybody agree to do that? But they did. And then they used linguistic analysis software to look at the results. And it's very interesting. Women who described their house as cluttered or containing unfinished projects, those were the women that were more likely to be depressed or fatigued more than those who found their living space as restful. So the research also concluded that women with cluttered homes had significantly higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol. The following year, a Princeton study found, not surprisingly, that clutter can make it harder to focus on a task. You and I know that already, right? If you've ever tried to prepare a meal in a messy kitchen, that's very hard. It's twice as hard. So much easier to do that if the kitchen is already clean and organized. The researchers with that Princeton study also found that our visual cortex can be overwhelmed by objects that are irrelevant to the current task, making it harder for us to focus our attention and complete a job efficiently. Well, if you are a woman in the 21st century, if you've managed a household or lived in your space, I think that's probably just common sense for most of us. I think all of us inherently know that a cluttered house or a messy kitchen is depressing, and it's difficult. We all function better, we can think better, we feel more restful when our space is organized. And Organized doesn't have to be perfect. We're not talking about perfection here. Just some sort of level of lessening on our stress by eliminating the clutter or have it be manageable so that we can think. Now, we live in our home, so and a little bit of clutter makes it feel livable and welcoming more than just like you're living on the cover of a magazine that's not real. But how can we manage that? How can we get to that place that we want to have not all that stress in our lives, not all those stress hormones, and how can we sort of lean into the holidays and not just sigh and feel dejected, feeling like that we're inviting all that stress to come upon us. No matter how busy life is, I do believe that there are some small steps that we can take to begin where we are and then take some baby steps to sort of move that needle just to a little bit closer to organization or having things be a little more tidy that gives us an opportunity to have our stress relieved just a little bit. It doesn't have to be hours and hours, just a few minutes each day to sort of get a handle on the chaos can help the stress level for all of us. I think it comes down to having a plan and being willing to work that plan and establish sort of some new habits or some good doable habits. It's no good to have a plan if it's overwhelming or too time consuming. It needs to be a doable plan. And then we can sort of gradually, day by day, with a few minutes each day, gain control of the clutter in our homes and then just live in a cleaner, healthier, less stressful environment. And so that leads me to our Do It list. Now, some of you are familiar with this. If you've been following our channel, you know this is a free monthly download that we make available every single month. And so this is the one for the month of October. It's even decorated. Our graphic designer, Beth, does a great job changing out the graphics with each month to make them seasonal. We pre-populate all the areas of our Do It list with daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. You don't have to feel the stress to check off every box, but if you're a box checker like me, it's motivating. The whole idea behind this is to take the thinking out so that your brain power is released for more important things. You don't have to think about what to do. You just look at the list and you know that you need to do it. And when you do it, you check it off. Again, perfection is not the goal, but excellence is. And maybe just challenging yourselves to do a few of these things each day. And over the course of a matter of days, you're going to start to see your home transformed. You don't want to, I don't ever want to have a whole day devoted to cleaning house and managing those things. But just a little bit each day can eliminate the stress that we feel in our lives and have our home just feel a little bit closer to being restful and less chaotic. We also provide a completely blank list. So if you want to sort of pre-populate, fill in your own items, this has got you covered as well. You can just create your own list and ignore ours. If you want to use ours as a starting point, take a Sharpie, line through the things that don't apply to you or you don't want to do, then that is totally up to you. So you can download this. There's a link in the show notes below and be ready to go ahead and start the month of October by turning over a new leaf. So we hope that you can just tailor it to your own needs. There's some blank lines at the bottom of the one that's pre-populated if you want to cross out ones and add new ones and use whichever of ours apply to you. Managing a household is work. There's no two ways about it. It's absolutely work. There's no getting around that. But it's our job, and this is our space, and we want to be productive here. We want to rest here. We want to live here, and we want to have it a place that when the doorbell rings, it's not an opportunity for stress and shame and guilt or telling everybody to be quiet so that maybe they don't know we're home. As we approach the busiest time of the year for many of us as the holidays come, I want to encourage you to consider making October perhaps the month that for the first time you give that Do It list a try. You just start off with some baby steps, checking off a few boxes each day and just give it a try and see what happens in just a matter of weeks. If you can finish the month of October and say, wow, that really wasn't that hard. I gave it 15 minutes a day perhaps, and I began to see some transformation. And then by the time November rolls around and then December and the holidays are here, you're finding that you have a lot less stress in your life. And you can throw open that door without shame and guilt and just truly feel like you're welcoming people into your home. And then when your Aunt Eleanor breaks her arm or breaks her hip and she's not able to host Thanksgiving dinner and it comes upon you, then maybe you can do that with great joy and not without a whole lot of stress. And so maybe this might even be the year that for the first time you invite some of the neighbors over for Christmas cookies and coffee, because it's the first time that you've had your home in a place that you would feel comfortable hosting. You see, having a clean house or a tidy house, that's not the end game. The end goal is hospitality and welcoming and focusing on people. And sometimes our homes are a distraction from that. So this is just the middle part that lets us get to the better part. Again, the goal is excellence, not perfection. Just moving that needle just a little bit closer to less stress so that we can do what the disciple Peter said in his epistle, to offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. For Cross My Heart Ministry, I'm Laura McFarland.